my friend, it's Pat Sloan here. Today I'm going to devote most of the day to questions and their answers. So I put a call out for some questions that weren't where's the pattern. You know, usually there are some that come up, but they hadn't for a long time, and there were some really good ones. I've done some, and I got a whole chunk of them for today, and then there's still a few left for another day. But we're going to do the whole video today on that because they're really good ones. But before we do, on the calendar we have that it is 10-minute tidy up day, and I think this is a perfect day to get the vacuum out, vacuum your area, and dust your machine, dust the screen, go to your tabletop. Is there something grimy left on there from something? Get that cleaned off. Do all of those things. Go along your cabinet edges, like my fabric cabinets. You know, I need to wipe the actual cabinets down occasionally because they get dust, and that's what happens. And also today it is, what do we got? It is Bind a Quilt Day. I made that one up, so it's Bind a Quilt Day. And I talk about the sea glass quilt on here, but we're not doing that one today. We're not going to talk about that. And it is Odd Socks Day. So years ago, there was a quilt that was out there, pattern with applique socks on it. And it's something like, you know, where's your missing sock or something like that. I don't know. It always sticks in my head. That was really, really cute. So if you happen to have a quilt with socks on it or sock fabric, it's not that common, is it? But if you do, share it. And one of these days I'll get the sea glass out and we'll talk about it, but not today. I'd rather do the questions and answers today. And I've been binding quilts all month. So, you know, if you have one to bind, do it. Do it, do it, do it. All right. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's dive in. These are Q&As that came in, questions that came in from the YouTube community here. So this is from Jan. I have made schedules and then life happens and everything goes topsy-turvy, which is very stressful. Of course it is. It always is, right? How would you deal with this? Well, the number one thing you do is go back to your schedule. Your schedules work for you. They are your superpower. Knowing what is the list of what is actually going on. When you've gone topsy-turvy, what have you done? You've stopped listing what's going on. You've stopped following your schedule. You've stopped looking at your deadlines. What you have to do is you have to write that down again, reschedule it, and hang on to that schedule and follow it, because you know, it might be like, okay, now you can't deliver that birthday present as a handmade quilt. Maybe you can't deliver that charity thing. You need to get some help. You need to get another quilter to help you with the charity project, whatever it is, you know, because, you know, illnesses come in, work comes in, family issues come in, just life happens. But abandoning your schedule is the absolute worst thing you can do. You have to go back to it and redo it, because it is never finished. Your schedule isn't static. Your schedule evolves and changes every day depending on what you get done, what is happening in life, how you feel, if you get sick or you just don't feel it for some reason. So anyways, go back to your schedule. You are a quilter. You don't give up. You don't give up. Quilters don't give up. We don't, do we? I mean, no. You just go back to your schedule and you'll be fine. You'll figure it out. Okay, so Margie says the D word, disorganization. She says disorganization stresses her out. And I think it does for a lot of us. There are people who thrive in that environment. They thrive in having all of their stuff out and kind of a little bit of chaos going on. That is invigorating. And then there's those of us that once that happens, we shut down. You know, we're just not going to be able to work well in disorganization. So she needs labels. So I'm going to link you in, and there's always linked in the description box below the video where it says see more. You click that open, there's tons of words there. You can see the list of my storage boxes and the labels I use. So get them, get them, get them. So Jackie says, hi Pat, I have a question. You probably have been asked this before, but I missed it. When you buy a fabric line bundle, okay, when you buy a fat quarter bundle, and you say you bought extra of this one or that much, how much extra do you buy? Well, it varies. What is the project for? If I know the extra will be like on our autumn woods with the extra sashings, you know, for around each block. I know I need X amount because the project says so. You know, I did the math for you, so the supply list tells you what you need. It might be like the Oh My Stars with the mushroom fabric. I knew I wanted the mushroom fabric for the border, but I also bought a couple other pieces. Border, I knew how much I needed because of the supply list again, but other pieces I may have bought like a half a yard or a yard. It just depends. If I'm speculating on border, then I probably need 3 yards. You look at the quilt you're going to make. I sometimes speculate without a project already being in the hopper, you know, without the fabric having a project to go to, but not usually. You know, usually when I'm buying extra, I already know what the project is. And sometimes I buy extra just because I like it and I think, oh, you know, it'll be gone. And I need to have some more of that. Be sure I have enough. So it's not a very good answer because it really depends. It could be from a half a yard to 3 yards, or it could be backing. So you're buying more yardage for that. Okay. Kimberly asked, says that you've taught us about the matchstick quilting and the cross hatch quilting. I didn't do any cross hatch quilting, but I taught you how to do matchstick. I've showed you matchstick. We've done the wave. Do I have any other methods? Well, I have for machine quilting. I have a whole book on machine quilting. Here it is. I highly recommend you get the book. It gives you so many tips and the basics that I do for machine quilting. And it's mostly free motion because once you aren't doing straight lines or just the wave, there's ways you can do designing for straight line quilting, and I recommend the book, The Walk, and you know, to give you that kind of information. Okay. Corrine asks, how are fabric lines named? Well, that's an interesting question because it's basically how is anything named. How a fabric line is named is the same way they name a soft drink or a coffee drink or a building or a clothing line or a brand name. Or a book name or a pattern name. Everything that has a name, the process is going to be similar for quilters. Okay, I'll just tell you for quilters, we are small businesses, often single person businesses, up to working with small companies, which are our book publishers, our fabric manufacturers. They are very small companies. These in our industry, they do not have a lot of people working for them. They're tiny companies, usually way under 100 people, way under 50 people in some cases. So they're small companies. So in that realm, from single person to under 50 people companies, when you're naming something, you know, and this is not a brand. I'm not talking about naming a brand like Pepsi Cola or something like that. When you're naming a fabric line, a pattern name, a book title, usually the author, if there is one, comes up with it and then talks with if it's themselves, like me, if I'm just naming a pattern, I can name it anything I want. And sometimes I check to see if there's another name similar. Sometimes I don't, because it's just really a short-lived thing. Fabric lines, generally we mostly check to see that there isn't one by the same manufacturer, you know, that they don't already have a fabric line with that name that they've done fairly recently that it could be confused with. And then you look to see, is there one published recently with the same name? You know, has somebody else done a similar name? And that's it. Some people don't ever check. They just put the name out because there's tons and tons and tons of duplicates of pattern names, book titles, fabric line names. There are duplicates. It's just what happens. They're short-lived products. For the most part, most of them don't have a long life. You know, they might be out there at the most a couple of years for a really good book. And a really long-term book could be more often, but in the quilt world, that's pretty rare. Most books come and go fairly quickly. Once they're sold out of the first print run, that's it. Most patterns are the same way. You know, every designer might have a pattern or two that has a very long life, like my Oh My Stars has a long life, and when I was teaching my Mama's Garden, but then like, you know, other ones, they just kind of come and go by the fabric line, and that's it. If you're a large corporation, you get into marketing, you get into copyrights, and you get into branding and all of that. So gets to be a much, much bigger deal. So I hope that helps, hopes that answers that. This last question came from Kathy, and I think it is it's a very, very interesting question. It's something that a lot of us have probably struggled with at one time or another. I also think it's pretty brave of Kathy to write and ask me to talk about it, because it's kind of those things that we don't really want to admit that we feel like this. It's not easy to admit. So Kathy said, how do you stay satisfied with the space that you have? Okay, so you have a space, that's it, you know. Seeing how you make your space work for you makes me look at my space and think, what can I do to make this work, instead of it just feeling like I can't sew and create without the big sewing spaces like I see others have. You accomplish so much in a regular home, plus run a business from your home, and it makes me feel like I should be more satisfied with what I have, but I still really want a bigger studio. So, you know, I think that's a dream of every creator. Every creator in every field would like to have a very large space to work in, whether we really need it or not. And many, many of us just cannot. We don't want to either put out the finances to do that. We don't have the space to do it. Like, think of the people who live in New York City and you know, high-rise buildings, and their studio space is the extra bedroom, half of it, because they sleep in the other half or something like that. You know, everybody has their limitations. I'm going to show you a couple pictures right now of my space in this room prior. This is the family room of my house. I have very little wall space since I have storage and stuff, and I also have a walkout door to the yard, and I also have the door, the big opening to the kitchen. I also have a fireplace in here, though I can't cover that up. So I have things I have to work with. But let me show you the prior stuff that I had, and then I'm going to talk to you about how I would approach this. So you can see here that my space had some of the same red baskets I had before, but it also had a lot of other things on the shelves. The shelves were black, not white like I have now. And so it was darker. I had this island that I worked on in the center, which did have white cabinets. And I had the red tower that you see. You know, these pictures, remember, are all like 11 years ago. But it did not have the same feel at that time. It felt more closed in because of the darker woods and the black, and the things on the shelves not being as cohesive, where the basket, you know, because there's bolts of fabric and piles of other stuff. And so keeping it neat and tidy and white has made a huge difference. Now that didn't look bad, did it? Sometimes it was more crowded than that. That particular set of photos, it was a little bit looser, but there were times when I had like another kind of shelf of things kind of stuffed in there. So it was pretty crowded. Plus, you know, I can't keep everything in this room. I have to have another room somewhere in the house. In my very small house, has to have 2 rooms devoted to everything I have. For many, many years, the second room was upstairs. We only have a 3-bedroom house, so it was in the smallest bedroom. Now everything is down here on this floor, so is my dining room that has the extra shelving, which you have seen. But what I would recommend is first decide if you really cannot change things around. Do you have a bigger living room that you're not using? Maybe a living room, dining room area that you're not using, you know, like formal living rooms with formal dining rooms. Many people don't actually use those in your home. Convert them over to your space. They're much, much bigger. Take your living room and put it in your family room like I have here. that might work for you. Look at, do you have a master bedroom that you could use instead as your studio space and not use it as a master bedroom? You could sleep in a different room in the house because maybe all you do is sleep there and you don't really need it to be that big. Look at your own environment. So let's say you've done all that. Okay, you've done all that. You know you are not going to expand your home. Have you explored putting a building, a small building on your property, if you can? Some people build, like she sheds or like studio buildings on their home, but that means you have to heat it and cool it, and protect it from rodents getting in and that kind of a thing. So if that's not an option, so let's say everything's not an option, you can't expand. So you're in your space that you have, and that's it. Here's what I recommend. I recommend you take everything out of your space. Everything. Every piece of furniture, every piece of everything that you own. And this is take you a little while. So, hang on, buckle up. Buckle up, Buttercup, you're going to do it. You take everything out and then you evaluate your space. If you need to and if you can afford it, get maybe a space organizer to help you. But then what I recommend you do is you replace all of your furniture, which is going to be less expensive than expanding your home. Replace all of your furniture with white furniture. Your white furniture will make your space expand because it is not taking color and making it dark in areas. It's all white. That's what I have, except for my desk. My desk is not white, but I have all white cabinets, and my desk is in the corner, so it was really hard to see, but I have all white cabinets. And then I would highly recommend you do like I did if you're going to have open shelving. If not, go closed shelving. Go to IKEA or order from IKEA. The shelving, you can close it with white doors on it. But if not, keep everything that same color. Have all the same baskets. Before, in those before pictures, I had red baskets and Longenberger baskets, which are brown, and I had those dark red baskets, and then I had the stacks of fabric, and all of that visual is not cohesive. When you have it all the same, it's very cohesive. Then your eye just makes it kind of one, and that is calmer, and it feels like your space is more beautiful. And I know that for me, when it was an absolute game changer when I switched out of here. I feel so much peace in this environment, in my space with the white and the red, and it's just, even when it gets, I got stacks of stuff because I'm working, but even then, it still always feels really enjoyable and wonderful. So getting everything out, replacing your furniture with white, and then only putting back what you absolutely have to have. Don't jam it in. Don't make it cluttered up. Don't junk it up. If you have to, reduce what you own because you can get more, and you're probably not using all of it, and you may never in your lifetime use all of it. If you have to, sacrifice a closet somewhere in your home that you can put. You sometimes can't keep everything. Like I can't keep everything in here. There's not enough room in this room for all the things I have to run the business. So they have to be in a separate room. But you as a hobby person could probably have a bit less. And you may not want a bit less, but it's something to think about. Depends on how committed you are to making your space beautiful and peaceful and look more inviting to having the stuff. How committed? Do you want it peaceful and beautiful to work in, or do you still want to have that stuff that you've had since 1971? It's your choice, and there's nothing wrong with keeping that, but maybe you can find a space in your basement if you have a basement. Maybe you can empty a closet and that's what you're going to do. You're going to store that old stuff in the closet that you might use someday. Which is fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't. It's just you have to think about the trade-offs. What are the trade-offs? So this is a super cool group of questions. There are a few others that I'll do some other day because I knew this would, these were great. And I'll keep some more to do another time. And I try to collect them up as I find them. Before we wrap up, the fun Q&A. The sweatshirts came in. Look how cute they are. Look at this for our fabric curator society. So here's this one. This comes with the hood. They do have them without a hood as well. And there's pink, and I've got a pink one on order. And don't forget that you can get the mug and the stickers and the Christmas ornament and the long sleeve t-shirts. So cute, super cute. Okay, so I had a few things come in the mail. Let me just do those to wrap up. You are so sweet. All of you are just incredible. This came from Georgia in South Dakota. So she sent this beautiful card, and you pick out the best cards, all of you. They're just gorgeous. And then look, stickers. I'm gonna go put one of these right in the planner, since I was so pathetic and hadn't put any in the planner yet, and we're like 3/4 of the way through the month. It's like, what's with that? What's with that? And this is from Karen in New York. And so she was one of the winners of the Leckerli cookies. So cute card, gorgeous antique, crazy quilt on there. And she sent a Starbucks along. Mwah. See, what else do we have here? So Nikki sent me a sweet note, and then she said she doesn't know how to load her pictures up online, so she just sent me some photos of them. Look at this. She did the Christmas stars, and this was the block a month that we did last in March, this past March. So nice. And she also sent me a little Starbucks. Mwah, so sweet. Now she found some fun fabrics, so she had to send them to me from my collection. Look, aren't they the best? Look at those frogs. And then she had some train fabric in a blue and a red. That is so cool. I've got to do something with the train fabrics. It's on my list. Plus, she sent some things for me to give away. So I will eventually do that. I'm going to collect up some things and do some sort of giveaway probably in December. But she had an extra copy of the book. And then she had a few other things like she had like the pins that she said she wouldn't use, and a few other things in here. So thank you, Nikki, for sending those along. And I will definitely be making a pile to use all of those. It'll be super fun. And let's see, got one other one for today. And this is from Sharon in Virginia. So Sharon actually lives south of me quite a bit in Virginia. Virginia has a long ways down there. Another beautiful card with a wonderful note in it. And then she sent look at the bag. Look at the bag. White with polka dots. So perfect. So what do we got in here? We've got, and I have one of these. I have not one of these. I have a stand, and I always hang a yard flag, yeah. So this is perfect. I do not have a Christmas gnome. I don't even know if I have a Christmas one that's still good. Sometimes they get kind of faded and worn out. So that happens. What else is in here? She sent me some, so look how sweet these are. How cute are those? Love them. And mushrooms. More mushrooms for me. I definitely, like I said, I have to go collect. Maybe this will be the start. Maybe I'll just keep these to the side, and then as I get in each bin, start pulling my mushroom fabrics out and see what I actually have. She also sent a bag, a little bag of, I already looked in here, lots of like penny candies. Look at this. This is so fun. Such a trip down memory lane. This is so fun. I love it. Whoop. Okay, and then there's one other thing in here because she had to make this critter block. She made a critter block and sent it along. Look how sweet the bear is with the little lace. Look at the lace. And look at the feet. She appliqued like they're, okay, I'm going to call them teddy bear slippers. The teddy bear's wearing teddy bear slippers. How sweet is this? Okay, so I got this for the critter quilt number 3. That is amazing. All right, my friends, thank you so much for sending in some questions. I hope you enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I've been keeping all the unique, and interesting questions to do another one sometime. So I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.